What it do, what it do, what it do. It's your boy Big Val Opinion back with another live video. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that share button. And most importantly, make sure you sub to the channel. Turn on that post notification bell so that you be notified each and every time that your boy Big Val is going live, man. With that being said, let's get into this intro.
Because tonight is about me and you. No say love, angel, no blue just us. No phone calls, no messages, no family, no friends. I just wanna get along with you, alone. I just wanna get it on with you. Yeah, you and I give up. What I wanna do, baby. I just wanna take the time. Keeping you warm, I'm just keeping you warm, yeah. Bill collectors, landlords, your cost of tripping. Just ignore you got plans. Almost CD, take it off all. I just wanna get it on. Here's what I wanna do. I just need it. You want I got the I got the hey you baby. Hey, what's up? What's up? Keeping you warm. Louisiana in the building. EJ in the building. Ashley in the building. Michael in the building. Neil in the building. Sharon in the building. Styles in the building. What's up? What's up? What's up? Miss V White in the building. What's going on? What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Big Val Opinion back with another live video, man. Welcome everybody to the chat. Kings and queens, what it do? Hope everybody had a blessed Martin Luther King Day. I hope everybody had a blessed Martin Luther King Day. Y'all saw the title of the live today. What's up, Miss Lady T? Kel speak, and people are still wanting more. For 4 years, we have heard people say they not gonna listen to this until Kel say something. They're not gonna believe this until Kel say something.
They're not gonna do that until Kel say something. But guess what? We ain't gotta be hoping no more because Kels has spoke. Kels has spoken, and the message is he want us to bring attention and awareness to this BOP officer A, who illegally accessed his jail records 153 times over a 6-month span, who then shared those emails and phone recordings with herself, then shared them with a blogger on the YouTube streets by the name of Tasha K, who then shared those emails with a government witness, key witness, star witness, which then that government star witness parents shared those key emails and phone records with a government informant, which that government informant then shared those emails, recorded conversations with prosecutors in Cook County, Illinois. What Kels is asking, Lottie, what's up? What Kels is asking that we bring awareness, that we continue to push this information out. Kels is asking that people stop with the back and forth. It's not about no one individual, because ain't no one individual is going to be able to bring awareness to what has taken place with the injustice within this case. It's going to take us to come together as a unit. As a unit. And it's one of those situations where you don't have to like this person to push this message. You don't have to deal with somebody that you don't deal with to push this message. It's like getting in a car, right? Taking a family vacation. If we start in Louisiana and the destination is Minnesota, if you put in a GPS from Louisiana to Minnesota, guess what? It's going to show you about 2, 3, maybe 4 different routes that you can take. But the main objective is to get to Minnesota. So if we all start in Louisiana and we all take different routes, long as we are on the same route to the same location, it don't matter which way we go. So I'm saying that to say, if you associate with this person, if you associate with that person, it don't matter who you associate with. The main objective should be bringing awareness to this BOP officer who has violated this man's constitutional right to his attorney, inmate attorney, privacy. He should have the right to have privacy between him and his counsel. The man is asking for people to help him, not to continue to go back and forth about the same thing that people have went back and forth about for the last 4 years on YouTube. We got to forget about the big I's and the little U's. And we got to start focusing on the we's. We the people. We are tax-paying citizens that have the right to voice our opinion about something that we see going on, which is an injustice, where someone is being cheated, railroaded, in order for these government prosecutors to win. They are using private and confidential information and sharing it with witnesses to be able to use on the stand to testify against this man. When are we going to understand the assignment? A while back, I was telling people about this show that came out last year. The show that was produced by 50 Cent on Stars called For Life. I'm not sure how many people actually watched this show. I told people about this show. This show came out on Stars. 50 Cent produced it. ABC. But 50 Cent produced this show. But this show is about a fella by the name of Isaac Wright Jr., who was sentenced to life in prison in New Jersey for a drug kingpin conviction on his first conviction. Well, this guy, after being convicted, he started studying law. This is not the actual person that you see on the screen. This is the character that played the actual person who this happened to. But the actual person was sentenced to life plus 70 years for a kingpin conviction in New Jersey back in the day. Well, why I bring this up and why I think people should go and watch this series called For Life, because the corruption that took place within this man's case that is highlighted. And when I tell you guys that what you're going to see when you go and watch this show For Life, it's going to bring back so many similarities to what we have witnessed over the last 4 years when it comes to R.Kelly. I have a clip that I'm going to play from the real person, Isaac Wright Jr., who's now a lawyer in New Jersey. He's an attorney in New Jersey. And also he ran for mayor of New Jersey as well. Once he became out. He's a lawyer now. He have his law degree as well. This man was incarcerated fighting cases as a lawyer of other people who were incarcerated with him. This man was smart enough and outsmarted the system to where he was able to take other people's cases that was in prison with him and recreate laws to help his case. But the one thing that he was up against a corrupt district attorney. He was up against corrupt prosecutors. I'm going to let you all see this clip. But I'm advising each and every one of you to go and check out this series called For Life. I promise you, you will come back to this video. You will come back to this video when you watch this series and say, Big Vi, why is it so many similarities to what's going on with Kale as far as on the corruption level? I'm not sure if it's on Netflix, but it was on the Stars app. And maybe it's on Prime. I'm not sure if it's on Amazon Prime. I actually watched it. If you got Fire Stick, you most definitely can go back and find this series and watch it. If you have a Fire Stick, most definitely. But I have a clip from the actual person himself who details some of the things that he went through and some of the ways and some of the things the prosecutor in New Jersey did to this man to convict him. So we're gonna have a little TV time right quick.
Is World News Sunday.
A former lawman turned outlaw on the run. A New Jersey prosecutor is seeing justice from the other side of the fence these days. He's been on the lam since last week when he disappeared from his home, leaving behind an electronic ankle bracelet and a suicide note. Now he's the subject of an international manhunt. ABC's Alexander Johnson has that story.
So anything you can tell us, Nick?
Reporters wanted to know how Nicholas Bissell went from being one of New Jersey's most feared lawmen to a convicted criminal. For 13 years, Bissell built a reputation as a tough crime fighter, even appearing on television's America's Most Wanted.
He was the top lawman in one of the biggest and most powerful counties in New Jersey.
But some of his colleagues say that wasn't enough. On May 31st, he was convicted on 30 counts, including obstruction of justice, fraud, perjury, and abuse of power. Many of the charges had to do with money, skimming, and tax irregularities at a gas station where he was part owner. Most troubling, Bissell's other cases must now be reviewed, like the case of Isaac Wright, given life for being a drug kingpin. Last month, a judge ordered him retried because Bissell coerced witnesses against him.
7 years ago, I was a voice among a chorus that nobody would listen to.
This week, 2 days before he was to be sentenced, Nicholas Bissell, the man who convicted Wright, cut an electronic ankle bracelet he was ordered to wear and became a fugitive. Because he fled, Bissell's property, including his house and a condo owned by his 76-year-old mother, are now owned by the U.S. government.
Prosecutor Bissell has it within his power to prevent his mother from losing her home. All he has to do is show up and be sentenced.
Next week, Nicholas Bissell is scheduled to show up again on America's Most Wanted, this time as a fugitive. Alexander Johnson, ABC News, New York.
Been under house arrest after he was found guilty of corruption and fraud in May. Today he took the stand on a case that he tried and won back in the early 90s. Bissell convicted Isaac Wright on a number of drug counts. He's been in jail for 7 years. But he says the former prosecutor, a judge, and law enforcement officials tampered with evidence and forced witnesses to lie.
And a man convicted by former Somerset County prosecutor Nicholas Bissell may soon go free. Isaac Wright, who is serving time for dealing drugs, says he was wrongly convicted because Bissell got witnesses to lie on the stand. The judge says he agrees with Wright and will let him go free unless the state can change his mind. Bissell himself is awaiting a jail sentence for fraud and corruption. He says the whole thing is bizarre. Meantime, the judge is also considering suppressing some drug evidence seized from the home of Wright's co-defendant. The judge says it was seized without a warrant and that Bissell's colleagues never reported it.
A man who spent 7 years in jail on drug charges will get a new trial. A judge in Somerset County threw out all 18 of Isaac Wright's convictions, claiming Wright never received a fair trial. News 12 New Jersey's Adam Freed is in our newsroom with the latest on Isaac Wright and the apparent miscarriage of justice that put him behind bars. Adam?
You know, Lee, Isaac Wright may have been a drug dealer, as prosecutors and police claimed, but one thing is certain: he wasn't dealt a fair trial. A judge said today that the man who prosecuted Wright made illegal deals with defense attorneys, and now Isaac Wright will have one more chance to plead his case before a jury. The news was good, but not good enough for Isaac Wright's mother and friends.
They don't have enough evidence to go back to a retrial, and basically should just release him today and let this man get on with his life.
Isaac Wright has appealed his case again and again. Now, the court agreed he did not get a fair trial. The judge referred to the behavior of the prosecutor as a distinct pattern of disinformation. The judge threw out this conviction for two reasons: because he said police had seized some of the key evidence illegally, and because the prosecutor had made secret and illegal deals with one of the defense attorneys. This was the testimony that opened Pandora's box, a co-defendant who testified against Wright.
Basically, he didn't want to go to jail, so he told me what to say in order to not go to jail.
She didn't. Isaac Wright got a life sentence. What turned this case was that the prosecutor, Nicholas Bissell, knew the witness was lying under oath during the original trial. The judge today called that an offensive deception of the judge and jurors. The original prosecutor, Bissell, is already on his way to jail, convicted of a variety of crimes. Now the new prosecutor will have to decide if the pursuit of justice means filing more charges against the man she has just replaced. The prosecutor says that she is going to retry Isaac Wright on all 18 counts of the original indictment. His bail was set today at $500,000, and the new trial is scheduled to begin in January. Lee?
Adam, was that particular prosecutor making other mistakes and other secret deals and other trials?
A lot of people are wondering that. It is certainly possible. There were a number of people in the courtroom today who had been convicted and served jail time from trials that Nicholas Bissell was the prosecutor in, and they were saying that because Isaac Wright got a new trial, they may appeal the decisions that were rendered against them as well.
Thank you to Adam Freed for that report from our newsroom.
A man put behind bars by former prosecutor Nicholas Bissell is free. Isaac Wright has been in jail for more than 7 years. He was convicted on a number of drug charges, including one that accused him of being a drug kingpin. For years, he claimed he didn't get a fair trial. In October, he convinced a judge, and today he was released on $250,000 bail. News 12 New Jersey's Cynthia Scott tells us that Wright may be a free man, but he's not quite out of the water yet.
Isaac Wright was supposed to spend the rest of his life behind bars, but he left the Somerset County Jail taking with him all the work that helped get him out. Wright calls this day bittersweet.
Bitter because it's 7 years coming, and sweet because it's the first step at liberty.
Former Somerset County prosecutor Nicholas Bissell, who killed himself to avoid jail time, was responsible for sending Wright to jail. Supporters of Wright, who helped post his bail, say Bissell wanted to be the first prosecutor in the state to convict someone under the drug kingpin statute. They say he broke the law to get his conviction.
There were a lot of problems with the case, basically just corruption in the prosecutor's office, which now is being investigated.
Wright convinced the judge of that after years of preparation and weeks of testimony from people who said they were forced to lie. In October, his charges were reversed and Wright was granted a new trial.
He was overwhelmed with so many things that he knew that it was something, the new trial was something that had to happen in the interest of justice. It had to happen.
But Wright may not be a free man forever. His trial that was scheduled on January 2nd was postponed until the state conducts its own investigation. Now, prosecutors say they will retry him, but some say they can't see how.
I can't wait to see their trial. I think that they're looking for a soft place to land. I don't think there really will be a retrial, and if there is, I don't think there's any possibility of a conviction.
I'm confident that, you know, in a subsequent trial that I'll be acquitted.
As for his own civil trial against the county, Wright wouldn't reveal his plans, but he says he wishes this day was the final chapter. In Somerset County, Cynthia Scott, News 12 New Jersey.
Isaac Wright.
You talk about corruption. Now you talk about corruption. Now, what do you call it? That's corruption on the highest level. That's corruption on the highest level. You see, the prosecutors got people to lie in order to convict this man. They were spying. This is why I want you all to go and watch the actual show. Because when you go and watch the actual show, it's more detailed. It's more detailed when you watch the actual show. The people put in hidden cameras in the visitation room, and they had the hidden cameras in the visitation room to listen to what him and his lawyer was talking about. And every time that he will get information about witnesses to come and testify on his behalf, they were listening to the conversations through the camera. Then they would listen to the witnesses that this guy come up with, Isaac Wright. Every time he would come up with witnesses, guess what the government did? The government will go and locate the witness and pay for the witness to leave the country to prevent them from coming to testify to help Isaac Wright. That's why I want you all to go and watch this series for life. I wish that we could have a watch party and watch it all together and debate, you know, and elaborate on it. But I want you all to go and watch this show. Welcome to the channel, Tiffany Riley. I appreciate you for being over here. You're going to enjoy it over here. This is what we do over here. We try to keep everything on a forward motion, pushing the narrative about this BOP officer and bringing awareness to what's going on in this case. The reason why I just played that clip that I played is to show you all about the dirty games that these attorneys play. So if you remember last night, I asked the question. I said, who else could this BOP officer have been sharing information with before Tasha K came out and said that she had received R.Kelly emails and conversations from this BOP officer? R.Kelly said for over a 6-month period, this BOP officer accessed his records, his confidential records, over a 6-month period, 153 times. She was emailing his information to herself and then sharing it with other people. Tasha K is the only person that we know of that has been said that she received some of R. Kelly's jail records. But who could this BOP officer have shared these jail records with outside of Tasha K? Because for some reason, the government is protecting this BOP officer. If you listen to what R. Kelly said, he said, an investigation has taken place. He said, an investigation has taken place. And his attorneys went and asked for any updates pertaining to the investigation. He said that the person responsible for doing the investigation of this BOP officer told his attorneys that they are not allowed to share that with them. So how are you not allowed to share information with me about someone who illegally accessed my jail records and then emailed them to themselves, then sent it to bloggers on YouTube, which was then used to share with a star witness in the case? But we heard on the video them speak about there being a miscarriage of justice. And when I hear the word miscarriage of justice, it takes me back to when I hear the word miscarriage of justice to this.
It's a prosecution. Yeah, that's right. And I can appreciate that there's emotions that run high and people don't necessarily value how the government goes about getting what they consider to be justice. But when the government runs amok, right now it's R.Kelly, tomorrow it's somebody else. And maybe it's someone you care about tomorrow. Maybe it's a loved one of yours. To keep the government honest and to keep them in check, the system has to work for all of us. The R.Kellys of the world, the Bill Cosbys of the world, and then people that we don't even know. And so my job is to make sure the government does it the fair way. And if they didn't do it fair, it just doesn't count. It's like if you cheat during a football game and, you want to declare victory, you can't because you cheated. And it is my job to hold the government responsible.
So when we go back to the beginning of that interview, and Jennifer is asked, why did she take the case? One of the reasons she spoke about why she took on the case was she asked herself, has there been, let you guys hear it. Let you guys hear it.
New York-based attorney Jennifer Bonjean has made a name for herself by taking on high-profile yet unpopular clients. She famously represented Bill Cosby on his appeal before the Pennsylvania Supreme Court concerning his 2018 sexual assault conviction, which ultimately got overturned, and Cosby walked out of prison a free man. Now she's taking on a new client, R.Kelly, who was convicted in September of sex trafficking and racketeering charges, and currently faces life in prison for those crimes. Joining me now is Kelly's new counsel, Jennifer Bonjean herself. Counselor, happy to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Yardee.
Okay, Jennifer, so I'm going to start this conversation by asking you the most obvious question, one I'm sure you get all the time. Why would you defend R.Kelly?
I approach every case the same way. And I look and I say, has there been a miscarriage of justice?
Now, if you all was here when I just played that video clip, if you all was here, what did you all hear? What did you all hear? Did y'all hear that Isaac Wright discovered that there has been a miscarriage of justice in his case? That the prosecutor and the DA got people to lie? Y'all just heard that, right? So this is what Jennifer is saying, why she took this case. Now listen to Jennifer tell us why she offered to take this case.
Okay, Jennifer, so I'm going to start this conversation by asking you the most obvious question, one I'm sure you get all the time. Why would you defend R.Kelly?
I approach every case the same way. And I look and I say, has there been a miscarriage of justice? And in my mind, a miscarriage of justice occurs when the government oversteps, when they overreach, when they violate someone's constitutional right to a fair trial. And then I ask myself, is there anything I can do about it? Can I possibly get this individual some type of remedy, some type of relief? And when I looked at R.Kelly's case, I found that both of those things were true. And so I had no reservations about taking R.Kelly's case. What I see was a travesty of justice and how the process worked. And when the process doesn't work, the outcomes are not fair, they're not righteous. And as a result, I took R.Kelly's case. And I pass on cases, but this.
Do y'all hear what Jennifer just said? So for all the people that's out there that may be feeling hopeful, that may be feeling doubtful, Jennifer just confirmed to us the same thing that we just watched that took place in this clip that I just showed you guys. In this man's case, he was sentenced to life plus 70 years. He was sentenced to life plus 70 years in prison on a drug kingpin conviction, and his case was overturned for the same reason, a miscarriage of justice.
Okay, Jennifer, so I'm going to start this conversation by asking you the most obvious question, one I'm sure you get all the time.
Why would you defend R. Kelly?
I approach every case the same way. And I look and I say, has there been a miscarriage of justice? And in my mind, a miscarriage of justice occurs when the government oversteps, when they overreach, when they violate someone's constitutional right to a fair trial. And then I ask myself, is there anything I can do about it? Can I possibly get this individual some type of remedy, some type of relief? And when I looked at R. Kelly's case, I found that both of those things were true. And so I had no reservations about taking R. Kelly's case. What I see was a travesty of justice and how the process worked. And when the process doesn't work, the outcomes are not fair, they're not righteous. And as a result, I took R. Kelly's case. And I pass on cases, but this is a case that I felt satisfied both of those requirements.
And that's because you think that the government abused the RICO statute in order to get around issues of statute of limitations, right? And so for people who may think I'm talking legalese here, there were accusations for decades against R. Kelly. Those accusations, cases, whatever it may be, were old, and so they couldn't be tried in a court of law. But to get around that, prosecutors used the statute, the RICO, which most people would associate with like drug warrants, to get around that in order to get R. Kelly on these charges. That's what you're talking about when you're talking about a miscarriage of justice, correct?
I mean, it's more than that. First of all, the government could have charged R. Kelly many years ago, many times over, with whatever crimes they believe that he committed. Now, they didn't do that many times. We know there was a case back in mid-aughts out of Cook County, and he was found not guilty of that case. But the government could have brought charges, and they chose not to for whatever reasons. And now they have brought charges against him under RICO, which, yes, was designed to get at criminal enterprises, mafia, large drug operations run by gangs. And they are doing that, yes, to plead around the statute of limitations. But even more problematic in my mind is they use this statute in order to overwhelm the jury with other crimes evidence or other bad act evidence. It doesn't even have to be another crime.
And when you overwhelm the jury, you create prejudice, and that's prejudicial. It's prejudicial to overwhelm the jury with bad act evidence. That's a violation. That is a violation to overwhelm the jury with bad act evidence. But I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to let y'all see. I'm going to let y'all see on the next clip. We're going to put this shit together, and we're going to make it make sense. That's what we do. We put it together, and we make it make sense.
Of that case, but the government could have brought charges, and they chose not to for whatever reasons. And now they have brought charges against him under RICO, which, yes, was designed to get at criminal enterprises, mafia, large drug operations run by gangs. And they are doing that, yes, to plead around the statute of limitations. But even more problematic in my mind is they use this statute in order to overwhelm the jury with other crimes evidence or other bad act evidence. It doesn't even have to be another crime. So really what they're doing is putting someone's life on trial. And that ends up being not really a fair fight. It's one thing to defend against a specific charge. That is fair. But when you bring in these crimes, these alleged crimes under the RICO Act, you're really putting someone in a position where they have to defend 30 years of their entire life. And that, I think, is not a fair fight because it doesn't give, you don't have fair notice of what they're coming at you with. There's allegations that date back 30 years. And there are sometimes it's very difficult for particularly high profile people, 30 years. So do I even know this person? Where was I? How can I defend against that? So it's not a fair fight. And then they brought claims under the Mann Act. The Mann Act has been historically problematic, and it was no less problematic in this case as well. So I believe that the government misused those statutes in order to gain convictions against R. Kelly that were not fair. And there's much that the jury didn't hear that they should have heard. Jennifer, I'm a lawyer too, so I understand what you're saying. And
man, I want y'all to listen how Jennifer put this. Listen to how Jennifer put this chick in her place. Cause she was like, Jennifer, I'm a lawyer too. You ain't a lawyer. You ain't a lawyer. You might be on the you might be a prosecuting lawyer, but you damn sure ain't no defense lawyer.
I'm able to think about this in a logical, obviously legal way, setting aside my emotion. But for the lay person, the person that's watching right now, and who's watched our coverage of R.Kelly's trial, who believe that he's finally being held accountable for abusing Black women and girls, they don't care about a fair fight, right? They be creative. They're probably thinking, hey, however way the government can do it, they finally did. And I don't care. Explain why it matters.
Now, ask yourself, where have y'all heard that narrative in? The people out here is people out here that don't care how the government get a conviction. Long as they get a conviction. How does that coincide with justice? How does that coincide with justice? You don't care how, y'all don't care how the government get a conviction, long as they convict this man because of y'all feel like he should be convicted. That's the craziest shit I ever heard. But only in this country we see mockeries that's ran in that fashion. This woman says she's an attorney. This woman claiming to be an attorney, be a lawyer, rather. She's claiming to be a lawyer. But she just said out her own mouth. Listen to what she said as far as the public sentiment.
Jennifer, I'm a lawyer too, so I understand what you're saying, and I'm able to think about this in a logical, obviously legal way, setting aside my emotion. But for the lay person, the person that's watching right now, and who's watched our coverage of R.Kelly's trial, who believe that he's finally being held accountable for abusing Black women and girls, they don't care about a fair fight, right? They be creative. They're probably.
When you're talking about justice, how can you not talk about fair? How, when you're talking about injustice, how could you sit up? When you're talking about justice, when you're talking about justice, how can you say on the other hand, I don't care if it's fair or not? That's a fucking contradiction. How could you talk about justice? How can you talk about someone being held accountable if you don't want them to be held accountable on a fair basis? That shit doesn't make sense. That's like someone handcuffing you with your hands behind your back and fighting you and asking you to fight back. Pretty much what they done to R.Kelly. They put his hand behind his back and now they punching him and they say, fight back. How am I going to fight back if my hands are cuffed behind my back? Make this shit make sense. Now, you claiming to be a lawyer, but out of your mouth, you say it's people that don't care if it's fair. The only thing that should matter is that it's fair. If you want real justice, then you should care that it's fair. Because if you convict someone on a fair basis, then it's less possible for them to come back on an appeal and win. But when you do fuck shit, sometimes you have to smell it. When you do fuck shit, you might have to smell it. That's why it's very important that you do it right and you get it right the first time. So shit like this don't have to come and bite you in the ass in the end. It's called karma. It's called karma. And everybody got it. No one is subjective from it. If you do wrong, it's coming back. If you don't do it right, it's coming back. So for her to think that it's okay to get on her platform and say, and this is a law-based platform. And for her to speak to the audience and say it's people out there that don't care if it's fair as long as they get a conviction, that says a lot about this lady. But let's continue to listen, because one thing about Big Viral Opinion, I'm going to give it to you straight raw. That's it.
Jennifer, I'm a lawyer too, so I understand what you're saying, and I'm able to think about this in a logical, obviously legal way, setting aside my emotion. But for the lay person, the person that's watching right now, and who's watched our coverage of R.Kelly's trial, who believe that he's finally being held accountable for abusing Black women and girls, they don't care about a fair fight, right? They creative. They're probably thinking, hey, however way the government can do it, they finally did, and done. I don't care. Explain why it matters to everyone ultimately that we essentially there's the checks and balances when it comes to prosecution.
Yeah, that's right. And I can appreciate that there's emotions that run high, and people don't necessarily value how the government goes about getting what they consider to be justice. But when the government runs amok, right now it's R.Kelly, tomorrow it's somebody else. And maybe it's someone you care about tomorrow. Maybe it's a loved one of yours. To keep the government honest and to keep them in check, the system has to work for all of us. The R.Kellys of the world, the Bill Cosbys of the world, and then people that we don't even know. And so my job is to make sure the government does it the fair way. And if they didn't do it fair, it just doesn't count. It's like you cheat during a football game, and you want to declare victory. You can't, because you cheated. And it is my job to hold the government responsible and to hold their feet to the fire. And I believe that was not done. It hasn't been done, but we're hoping to do it.
Spear Boost raised my credit score by 12 points instantly, which is insane.
So I raised my score by 21 points instantly. Literally as soon as I pressed the button.
Boost your.
So, I've had this conversation with colleagues for years. And in fact, we had a conversation about it on the show a few weeks back about the blowback that attorneys were facing from the public over who they choose to represent. I get tweets from viewers asking why I keep inviting certain lawyers who represented less than desirable clients. And of course, that question that we all get, defense lawyers get, how can you defend a guilty person? I'm curious.
Man, I want y'all to listen. I want y'all to listen and how Jennifer respectfully put this so-called defense lawyer in her place. Listen to how Jennifer get her straight real quick. Listen to how Jennifer get this so-called defense lawyer straight real quick. Shout out to Bunjean, man. She don't play and she don't miss.
So, I've had this conversation with colleagues for years, and in fact, we had a conversation about it on the show a few weeks back about the blowback that attorneys were facing from the public over who they choose to represent. I get tweets from viewers asking why I keep inviting certain lawyers who represented less than desirable clients. And of course, that question that we all get, defense lawyers get, how can you defend a guilty person? I'm curious, how would you respond? What would be your response to that question?
Well, first of all, let me start by saying that that is a general question I get all the time. I don't know whether it's specific to R.Kelly or not, and I'm not here to, I don't trust the verdict that came back in R.Kelly's case. So I'm not going to say he's guilty until I believe that there was a fair process. I don't rely on verdicts where the process was not fair. So let me make that clear. I do not believe that the verdict is a reliable indicator of whether R.Kelly is in fact factually guilty. But to your general question of how do you represent unpopular people? How do you represent people that the media has already convicted? How do I represent them? I'm a defense attorney. attorney, and that's what I do. And I believe to my core that the government needs to be held needs to be held accountable, and when they don't go about this process in a fair and just way, that is a miscarriage of justice, and it affects all of us. And I guess I just really believe in that principle. It just doesn't matter to me whether it's R.Kelly or Bill Cosby or any number of wrongfully convicted people that I have represented over the years. It just does not matter. It's all the same to me, because if the system doesn't work for one, it doesn't work for any of us. And I guess I'm just really focused on that principle. And it doesn't, my view is if you're a defense attorney and you can't get with that idea, then maybe find a different career. That's really one of the fundamentals.
Listen to what Jennifer. Now, this person conducting the interview is supposed to be a defense attorney, right? But listen what Jennifer tell her though. If you can't get with that, then you need to find a different career. Goddamn Jennifer, boy.
And when they don't go about this process in a fair and just way, that is a miscarriage of justice, and it affects all of us. And I guess I just really believe in that principle. It just doesn't matter to me whether it's R.Kelly or Bill Cosby or any number of wrongfully convicted people that I have represented over the years. It just does not matter. It's all the same to me, because if the system doesn't work for one, it doesn't work for any of us. And I guess I'm just really focused on that principle. And it doesn't. My view is if you're a defense attorney and you can't get with that idea, maybe find a different career.
If you can't get with that, then maybe you should find a different career. I love Jennifer, man. I love Jennifer. I love the sarcasm, man. I love it, man. I loved every minute of that. I loved every minute of that interview. I loved every minute of that interview, man. Let's go here.
Among our major arguments have been the fact that there were multiple prosecution witnesses who gave inconsistent statements that kept changing, and that some of these clearly had no case against the R&B king, but were nevertheless brought to trial. Their purpose was to further depict R.Kelly as the predator that was alleged to be. Another major concern was that R.Kelly's trial was completely prejudicial, and the judgment was made along assumptions that R.Kelly was a bad person, with no substantial evidence to prove a case against him. In this particular case, the Supreme Court jurors are completely unhappy to note that a judgment was made along similar prejudicial lines, making us confident that the Supreme Court will find it easy to rule out the current judgment. Once this has been overturned, R.Kelly will surely be a free man again. Take a look.
Rationale for introducing the testimony of the three uncharged victims.
The testimony of Young, Dunning, and Wolf, as Justice Burke found, was directly probative of defendant's state of mind.
Why wasn't that accomplished with the three women who were complainants? I mean, that for me is the problem. You already have three women who give you three different types of stories of the horrors they allege they experienced with him. I think you've covered that. So to pile on with three uncharged complainants, three uncharged victims, is leaning really close to that propensity line.
It was relevant to defendant's intent. As Your Honor pointed out, intent was hotly contested below.
I don't understand how that wasn't established through Mann.
Because
we had a 5-year relationship with him after the assault.
Because Mann's allegations were not so unambiguous that there would have been no doubt in a juror's mind that defendant intended the forcible element of the first-degree rape. Again, when Justice Burke...
You're saying that you wanted to prove what he did with Mann by introducing the testimony of those other three women.
No, certainly not. Mann's allegations would have established, if believed, would have established the elements of the offense.
Where the women were of the uncharged crimes were not the victims for which were being prosecuted, though.
Where was the balancing that's supposed to go on in Molyneux? This was incredibly prejudicial testimony, no? Well, no, respectfully, Your Honor, it wasn't prejudicial for two reasons. One, the court gave extensive limiting instructions. 3 times the court explained to the jury.
The fact that there's instructions doesn't mean it's not prejudicial.
But here we know it wasn't.
I'm charged with 3 rapes. And here come 3 other women who claim I did the same thing to them, but I'm not being charged with that. That's prejudicial.
Well, it's not prejudicial.
So the question is, does that prejudice, is that outweighed by some probative value that supersedes that?
Respectfully, Your Honor, it wasn't prejudicial here, and we know that.
Opposing counsel referred to the Molyneux rulings in this case as unprecedented. What cases do you rely on under New York law that actually constitute precedent for the court's rulings in this case on the Molyneux issues?
Well, parsing the Molyneux evidence, no one would quibble with the admissibility of the uncharged offenses as to man. Ample case law, which we...
I'm talking about the other 3 women.
Right. As to Young, Dunning, and Wolf, again, I think Vargas is a perfect illustration of precisely why we were permitted to put forth the evidence here. It's well understood that Molyneux evidence can shed light on a defendant's state of mind and intent.
So you're really arguing that this was not overkill? I mean, there were certain items in the Sandoval that I thought, okay, that's fair game. If you, after being fired, ask an employee at the company to take computers and delete stuff, that's fair game. But some of this other stuff, let's inflame the jury's heart by telling them that he beat up his brother during a meeting. I don't see how there is a balance there on that.
Well, threatening behavior, again, goes directly to demonstrating his ability to put his own self-interest at the expense of others, and that goes to the heart of honesty and integrity. The fact that there were many of these acts only indicated how defendant chose to live his life.
Yes, and counsel, you know what? There are trials every day where we have defendants who have a rap sheet a mile long. A mile long. They'll have 20 felony convictions on their rap sheet. And I see no judge say, go ahead, go to town on all of them, because they don't let you go into the facts. They usually just let 1 or 2 in. I mean, there is a balance.
But looking at what was let in relation to its impact on whether the jury could otherwise decide the case, not based on the fact that this is just a horrible person. That's really the balance, not what was let out. That's correct, and perhaps if this involved a case that had 100 or 150 allegations, it would present a different scenario. 38 non-convicted, and they're not convictions, not one of them, acts. That's balance? Well, as you point out, the fact that they're not convictions, that they're just bad acts, if anything, makes them less prejudicial. But the fact that there were so many is only indicative of how defendants...
When I woke up in the
See, we should be very confident at what's to come, man. You see, a lot of the stuff that we hearing, as far as like these non-convicted, all these different people testifying against R.Kelly, like all this prejudice shit that was brought forth against this man. You know, and so for me, I sit back and I watch clips like the one I just watched. I watch clips like the For Life. I watch stuff like For Life. And when I see the movie For Life, when I see the little TV show For Life, it's so much comparison to what's going on with R. Kelly in that TV series is so much comparison to what's going on with R. Kelly in that TV series. As far as the corruption goes, on so many levels. That's why when R. Kelly has started to speak now, and he's telling us what is going on, he's telling us what has taken place. He's letting us know, like, look, I need for you all, the public, to bring awareness to this BOP officer who has access my jail records over 153 times. She also took my private and confidential emails and calls and shared them with a YouTube blogger. This YouTube blogger then took this information and shared it with a star witness in my case. He's telling us where he needs our help at. And if you are out here and you are advocating and you are trying to help bring awareness to what is going on in this case, then you should be pushing this narrative and pushing this message about this BOP officer. This shit with this BOP officer, if you listen to what R. Kelly said, this man said, he said, I feel like I'm in a casket kicking. He said, I'm having nightmares. Like, how could this happen? Like, imagine for when his girlfriend came and visited him and she told him, he's like, how did you know the money was behind the couch? And she told him, look, I heard the conversation with you and your attorney. I saw the emails. When did you start calling her? He trying to figure out how the hell did this girl know any of this shit. He had no clue of knowing how she knew any of that information. He said, I've been having nightmares trying to figure this shit out, just to come to find out that a fucking a BOP officer, which is a jailhouse judge, was accessing his jail records every single day she came to work and was emailing them to herself. And like, I'm at this point, like, yeah, we know Tasha K. We know Tasha K got a hold to the jail records, but who else could she have shared this shit with? Why so many people got immunity? Did she share this shit with the prosecutors? Why he didn't have no witnesses? This shit makes me question so much. It makes me question so many different things now, to know that these people was listening in on his conversations and sharing his information with other people. Now when I think about why he didn't have witnesses to come and testify on his behalf, now I'm starting to think, is it alleged? Did the government pay off witnesses or give witnesses deals to not show up, to not come and testify? Like, these are questions that you have to start asking. When you watch this movie, when you watch this TV show called For Life, some of the things that I'm telling you guys, you're going to see in this reality show. You're going to see that the government, every time this guy got ready to come to trial, the prosecutors would go and get his witnesses and send them out of town. They would go and get their witnesses and lock them up so they can't come to testify on his behalf. Like, it was so much corruption in the case of Isaac Wright. And when I look at that Isaac Wright case and I look at what's going on in this R. Kelly case, it's so many similarities. There's so many similarities. Common sense, what's going on? Sharon, what's going on? Yeah, so Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. So I'm not sure, for all the people who just came in, I played a clip earlier from the Isaac Wright Jr. case in New Jersey. And they talk about some of the corruption, some of the corrupt prosecutor. This prosecutor in the Isaac Wright Jr. case, let me tell y'all what he did. Once he got in trouble and got convicted, got charged, they put him on the electronic monitor, right? His mother put up all of her property, houses, and everything. So the man, instead of him going to face charges for his corruption, what he did was he cut his anchor monitor off and fled to Las Vegas. And he locked himself inside of a hotel room, and he killed himself. All because he didn't want to face trial for the corruption that he had, for the corrupt trials where he had convicted all of these people, wrongfully convicted all of these people. Instead of him going to face trial, he killed himself. It's crazy. Yeah, so for the people who just coming in, we're gonna look at this clip one more time before we get ready to get up out of here. I ain't come on to hold y'all long. I ain't come to hold y'all long. I just wanted to bring a little information today to help us understand what we are watching. And hold on. Okay. Let's get this off the screen right here. I appreciate each and every one of you all that's over here. Make sure y'all hit that like button, share the content. Let's help get the message out there. We working to push the narrative, to change the narrative as well. Everybody should be awarded a fair trial, regardless if you like that person or not.
Is World News Sunday.
A former lawman turned outlaw on the run. A New Jersey prosecutor is seeing justice from the other side of the fence these days. He's been on the lam since last week when he disappeared from his home, leaving behind an electronic ankle bracelet and a suicide note. Now he's the subject of an international manhunt. ABC's Alexander Johnson has that story.
Anything you can tell us, Nick?
Reporters wanted to know how Nicholas Bissell went from being one of New Jersey's most feared lawmen to a convicted criminal. For 13 years, Bissell built a reputation as a tough crime fighter, even appearing on television's America's Most Wanted.
He was the top lawman in one of the biggest and most powerful counties in New Jersey.
But some of his colleagues say that wasn't enough. On May 31st, he was convicted on 30 counts, including obstruction of justice, fraud, perjury, and abuse of power. Many of the charges had to do with money, skimming, and tax irregularities at a gas station where he was part owner. Most troubling, Bissell's other cases must now be reviewed, like the case of Isaac Wright, given life for being a drug kingpin. Last month, a judge ordered him retried because Bissell coerced witnesses against him.
7 years ago, I was a voice among a chorus that nobody would listen to.
This week, 2 days before he was to be sentenced, Nicholas Bissell, the man who convicted Wright, cut an electronic ankle bracelet he was ordered to wear and became a fugitive. Because he fled, Bissell's property, including his house and a condo owned by his 76-year-old mother, are now owned by the U.S. government.
Prosecutor Bissell has it within his power to prevent his mother from losing her home. All he has to do is show up and be sentenced.
Next week, Nicholas Bissell is scheduled to show up again on America's Most Wanted, this time as a fugitive. Alexander Johnson, ABC News, New York.
Been under house arrest after he was found guilty of corruption and fraud in May. Today he took the stand on a case that he tried and won back in the early 90s. Bissell convicted Isaac Wright on a number of drug counts. He's been in jail for 7 years. But he says the former prosecutor, a judge and law enforcement officials tampered with evidence and forced witnesses to lie.
And a man convicted by former Somerset County prosecutor Nicholas Bissell may soon go free. Isaac Wright, who is serving time for dealing drugs, says he was wrongly convicted because Bissell got witnesses to lie on the stand. The judge says he agrees with Wright and will let him go free unless the state can change his mind. Bissell himself is awaiting a jail sentence for fraud and corruption. He says the whole thing is bizarre. Meantime, the judge is also considering suppressing some drug evidence seized from the home of Wright's co-defendant. The judge says it was seized without a warrant and that Bissell's colleagues never reported it.
A man who spent 7 years in jail on drug charges will get a new trial. A judge in Somerset County threw out all 18 of Isaac Wright's convictions, claiming Wright never received a fair trial. News 12 New Jersey's Adam Freed is in our newsroom with the latest on Isaac Wright and the apparent miscarriage of justice that put him behind bars. Adam?
You know, Lee, Isaac Wright may have been a drug dealer, as prosecutors and police claimed, but one thing is certain: he wasn't dealt a fair trial. A judge said today that the man who prosecuted Wright made illegal deals with defense attorneys, and now Isaac Wright will have one more chance to plead his case before a jury. The news was good, but not good enough for Isaac Wright's mother and friends.
They don't have enough evidence to go back to a retrial, and basically should just release him today and let this man get on with his life.
Isaac Wright has appealed his case again and again. Now, the court agreed he did not get a fair trial. The judge referred to the behavior of the prosecutor as a distinct pattern of disinformation. The judge threw out this conviction for two reasons: because he said police had seized some of the key evidence illegally, and because the prosecutor had made secret and illegal deals with one of the defense attorneys. This was the testimony that opened Pandora's box, a co-defendant who testified against Wright.
Basically, he didn't want to go to jail, so he told me what to say in order to not go to jail.
She didn't. Isaac Wright got a life sentence. What turned this case was that the prosecutor, Nicholas Bissell, knew the witness was lying under oath during the original trial. The judge today called that an offensive deception of the judge and jurors. The original prosecutor, Bissell, is already on his way to jail, convicted of a variety of crimes. Now the new prosecutor will have to decide if the pursuit of justice means filing more charges against the man she has just replaced. The prosecutor says that she is going to retry Isaac Wright on all 18 counts of the original indictment. His bail was set today at $500,000, and the new trial is scheduled to begin in January. Lee?
Adam, was that particular prosecutor making other mistakes and other secret deals and other trials?
A lot of people are wondering that. It is certainly possible. There were a number of people in the courtroom today who had been convicted and served jail time from trials that Nicholas Bissell was the prosecutor in, and they were saying that because Isaac Wright got a new trial, they may appeal the decisions that were rendered against them as well.
Thank you to Adam Freed for that report from our newsroom.
A man put behind bars by former prosecutor Nicholas Bissell is free. Isaac Wright has been in jail for more than 7 years. He was convicted on a number of drug charges, including one that accused him of being a drug kingpin. For years, he claimed he didn't get a fair trial. In October, he convinced a judge, and today he was released on $250,000 bail. News 12 New Jersey's Cynthia Scott tells us that Wright may be a free man, but he's not quite out of the water yet.
Isaac Wright was supposed to spend the rest of his life behind bars, but he left the Somerset County Jail, taking with him all the work that helped get him out. Wright calls this day bittersweet.
Bitter because it's 7 years coming, and sweet because it's the first step at liberty.
Former Somerset County prosecutor Nicholas Bissell, who killed himself to avoid jail time, was responsible for sending Wright to jail. Supporters of Wright, who helped post his bail, say Bissell wanted to be the first prosecutor in the state to convict someone under the drug kingpin statute. They say he broke the law to get his conviction.
There were a lot of problems with the case, basically just corruption in the prosecutor's office, which now is being investigated.
Wright convinced the judge of that after years of preparation and weeks of testimony from people who said they were forced to lie. In October, his charges were reversed and Wright was granted a new trial.
He was overwhelmed with so many things that he knew that it was something, the new trial was something that had to happen in the interest of justice. It had to happen.
But Wright may not be a free man forever. His trial that was scheduled on January 2nd was postponed until the state conducts its own investigation. Now, prosecutors say they will retry him, but some say they can't see how.
I can't wait to see their trial. I think that they're looking for a soft place to land. I don't think there really will be a retrial, and if there is, I don't think there's any possibility of a conviction.
I'm confident that, you know, in a subsequent trial that I'll be acquitted.
As for his own civil trial against the county, Wright wouldn't reveal his plans, but he says he wishes this day was the final chapter. In Somerset County, Cynthia Scott, News 12, New Jersey.
Isaac Wright.
There you have it. There you have it. So the shit that's going on with R.Kelly, this ain't no shit that just started happening. They've been practicing these type of convictions ever since this shit has been in place. And like I was telling someone the other day, the laws are set to work right. The laws are set in favor of the citizens, but it's the people who runs the laws. It's the people who operates the law that makes it corrupt. The justice system works out perfect when it's ran by people, the right people. But when you have the wrong people in place trying to run a law body operation, then you get corruption. It's the corrupt people that makes the system bad. No, the system actually works if it's being ran by the right people. But when you put the wrong people in place, did you hear them say that this prosecutor was trying to be the first prosecutor to convict someone under the drug kingpin operation? What type of shit is that to just go out and fucking lock someone up for just because you want to be the first prosecutor to convict someone on a drug kingpin law? Where is the fairness at? So if you look at what we're seeing with R. Kelly, we are seeing nothing but history repeats itself. These people put out a docu-series. That's called, that Surviving R. Kelly is considered to be witness tampering. That shit came out 2 episodes before this man was even convicted. 2 episodes came out before this man was even convicted. And for people who say they don't know, ain't a soul. I can't name too many people in this world that have never heard of R. Kelly. And you know why? Because the song I Believe I Can Fly is a crossover song for black and white, Latino, whatever race. Can't nobody tell me that they've never heard of. Space Jam was one of the best, most popular movies ever. You're talking about Michael Jordan. So for people who said that they didn't know R. Kelly or they never heard of R. Kelly, that's a goddamn lie. This man has had allegations surrounding him his whole entire career, over 30 years. All because of people around him wanting to be in his position. They wanted to be in his position. You know what I'm saying? Those are the type of motherfuckers that you have to watch out for. The type of people that be around you that want to be you. Yeah, those yes men. No, those ones that's not going to tell you, hey, man, you shouldn't be doing that, because it couldn't have been me. If that's me in that position, and Rob, you looking at, man, look, man, what the hell you doing looking at these underage girls? If that's the case, so a lot of the people that was around him, they saying that these people are enablers. Those people weren't enablers. Those people wanted to see the downfall of R. Kelly, because you know what? They wanted to be who R. Kelly was. They wanted the lifestyle. They wanted the money. They wanted the fame. They wanted the houses. They wanted the jewelry. They wanted the girls. So it's easy to sit here and manipulate the world and make the world think these allegations didn't come from these fucking women. These allegations did not come from these women. These allegations came from people that was in his camp. People in his camp created these narratives surrounding this man, not these women. These women just went along with and did what they had to do once they were confronted. But it was the people that was around him, next to him, eating off of him, living with him, touring with him, spending money when they go shopping. Those were the people who was out here creating these narratives surrounding this man's career. And then they sitting back laughing in his face as if they don't know what's going on. The whole fucking time, they are the ones who have created these narratives to have this man in the position that he's in. And why wouldn't the media outlets believe him? Why wouldn't the media sources believe the people that's connected to him? Because they are with him every day. So if somebody that's with me every day, with Big Vi every day, and they go and tell these media outlets, Big Vi doing this. They going to tell these people, Big Vi doing this, Big Vi doing that. And people looking and seeing every time they see me, they see this same person with me all the time. So now they're not thinking, why is this dude coming back telling me that Big Vi doing A, B, and C? They're not thinking about why could he possibly be telling me. They're not thinking about why he could be coming to tell them Big Vi doing A, B, and C out here, and you might want to report on it. But y'all see him with me every day. If I'm doing so much wrong, why are you with me every day? When you look at R. Kelly, a lot of these people that was going around lying on him, we talk about Demetrius. We talking about Bubba. We talking about Cheryl Mack. We're talking about a lot of these people that he was paying. A lot of these people that he was paying. When he caught their ass stealing, all of a sudden they go and report stories on this man, accusing him of dealing with these underage women. This is the reason. Like Uncle say, they was hypnotized with hatred. Every time he cut their fucking water source off, they went to the media outlet and lied on this man. They went created narratives on this man that he was out here dealing with these underage women. All because he was cutting their ass off when he caught them stealing or he caught them taking. Somebody said something earlier on my Twitter. If I can go to the comment right quick from my Twitter. And I said, exactly. Let me find this comment from earlier on my Twitter. It said, when government witness went and saw R. Kelly at the prison after she stole the money, she said to him, "You lied to me, you used me, you played me. Never once did she say you hurt me, you abused me." She sounds like a scorned woman. She never said, when she was on that phone call on Presidents, she said, "You lied to me, you used me, you played me. You never once did she say you hurt me." She never told R. Kelly she hurt me. But she did say, "You lied to Joy." I'm going to tell you how manipulative the star witness was. Now, when she took the money from R. Kelly, she left a note and said, fuck Joy and fuck him. She's going to do what she got to do. But when the presidents came out, when she was on that phone call, she tried to play, she was playing mind games with the public. She tells R. Kelly, you lied to Joy. You knew I was coming back to get her, which was a fucking lie. Because why did you have to come back and get someone that you could have left with? Why leave? Why leave? Why do you have to come back and get someone that you could have left with? When she took the money, it was fuck Joy. All of a sudden, she coming back on his birthday to get her shit and move out. All of a sudden, now she's coming back to get Joy. Then she say, you lied to Joy. You knew I was coming back to get her. Why would you have to come back and get somebody that you could have left with? You have to make that shit make sense. You have to make that shit make sense. But she knew the camera was on and she was being recorded, so she had to make herself look innocent. Whole time she's guilty as hell. She took the man money and fucking left. But she came back to the Trump to get her shit with all the intentions to fight Joy because she already knew that his attorney, he told his attorney that he wasn't leaving Joy to be with her. So once he made that decision and you heard him tell his attorney that he wasn't leaving Joy to come back and get you, what was the purpose of you coming back to get Joy? You have to make that shit make sense. You never was coming back to get Joy. Your whole intention was to come back. Y'all planned. That fight was premeditated. And you saw here, oh, I'm coming back to get Joy, but you tell Joy, oh, you going to jail. You slept with a minor. You going to jail for sleeping with a minor. You and your man both going to be locked up. But on the beginning of presidency, you on the phone telling this man that you were coming back to get Joy. How are you coming back to get someone that you are threatening to lock up, that you press charges on, that you attacked her? Joy didn't attack the star witness. The star witness attacked Joy. But you want to make it look good on presidents to make yourself look innocent by saying that you were coming to get Joy. But why would you say fuck her just to turn right back around and come back and get her? You got to make this shit make sense. This math ain't mathing. This math just not mathing. But see, there are people that's out here that want to see that type of shit. They don't care. They don't care. Shabazz was a part of the setup. He was there for the bullshit. And he was also there to record help record the Savages reality show. All this shit was a reality show for these people. They took this man's life and they dangled it over his head as if he didn't matter. All of these informants falling out of nowhere, using this man's case to help themselves. But then these motherfuckers that come on YouTube and say, you show me where my name at anywhere in R. Kelly paperwork and I'd accept it. Well, when you're an informant, your name is not going to show up. Your cooperation will not show up in R. Kelly's paperwork. Where you're going to get your credit for your participation in giving information about another case will be in your sentencing memorandum. And all you got to do is go on my Twitter and look. I posted it on my Twitter. Well, they give this man credit they give him credit for 2 cases. He turned on his best friend and he gave them information pertaining to this R. Kelly's case, to the R. Kelly case. The prosecutors asked the judge to give him leniency. They also said that they need him out because of the advocation, because he have been advocating for young women, young black and brown girls, and he's been the #1 advocator out here, and they need him out here. but you gonna reap what you sow. All this shit that they did to make this man look like a monster, all that shit was premeditated. All of it was premeditated. But if you don't have the ability to think for yourself, you're going to have a long, hard road in this thing called life. When did the black community, and this is no offense to any other community out there, when did the black community start relying on television to report news that goes on in the black community? When did the news outlets become so infatuated with what goes on in the black community? How many of our brothers and sisters that we have witnessed be gunned down in the streets by police? And when the news report on our brothers and sisters, they tell us that our brother was a crackhead. They tell us that our sister, who's a nurse, was a drug dealer. They tell us that our innocent young men who had their hands up, participating in cooperation with the police, was resisting arrest. These are the same news outlets. We upset because we don't believe the shit, because we watching the video of our young black brothers and sisters being gunned down, and we watching this shit on live video television, and they come back on the news and tell us something different than what we saw, and we pissed off at the news. That ain't how that happened. You a lie. He had his hands up. He wasn't resisting arrest. But when they come out and talk about R.Kelly, everything they say is golden. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Lifetime, as far as Lifetime is concerned. There are real people, real women out here really being abused, really missing. They're really missing. They're really chained up in basements. I've been in here 4 years. I haven't seen one person that was ever chained up in a basement come forward for anything. But I tell you one thing, before Lifetime came out, I was minding my business. I was in the studio. I was working with celebrities. I had tours. But when Lifetime came out, all of that went away. Meaning, before Lifetime came out, I had no charges pending against me. Nobody had went to a radio station or had went to, a police station. It took a year to put together Lifetime. If all of the things they said I did on Lifetime were true, it only take a minute to go to a police station. But when there's a crime committed, you don't go make a movie on it. You go to the police station. Nobody had done that. Give you a scenario. If you tell one woman, hey, I'm going to give you the money, you put the money behind the blue couch, and because the other lady is spending the money, and she's not supposed to be spending it because I need that money for lawyers. So you're being more responsible. You take the money, put it behind the blue couch, and don't tell her, just hold it and use that for emergencies or if I need anything or pay bills or whatever. The other woman is not supposed to know the very next day where that money is.
Right.
I'm not supposed to get a call, which I did from my girl saying they took the money, they left, left a note saying F you and F him, I'm going to do what I have to do. These things is happening. These things happening in 2019, and then I get another visit from the woman who took the money, and she tells me, since when did you start giving her the money, and why did you tell her to put it behind the couch and not tell me? Don't lie to me. I heard the phone call. So in 2019, I'm trying to figure out how the hell did she hear that phone call? In 2019, I'm trying to figure out why would she tell me in the last visit that, oh, and since when did you start?
He wasn't even 18.
You know what? And see, this is my thing, because I'm watching everything that's going on, and don't none of y'all seem happy that like Kels is locked up. Like it's still
Like,
it's
it's
fighting.
this what you gotta understand. With me, I'm still dealing with my daughter, my child, who's fucked up, and this is why motherfuckers like this old smart dummy over there, and that side chick, none of them can ever understand. Because they rock that shit all day long, keep saying ass this, that, this. Y'all keeping that shit going. Because if they didn't speak about it, it wouldn't be keep going. But they speak about it because you need channels, you need growth now, this and that, and that's fine. But don't get mad when I speak on something and it's about my life. Because y'all invading my space and making my life into a different type of lifestyle. Because now I got to watch the internet again, see what this shit is, watch my family. Because how this shit going with this motion, guess what? Azrael could be pulled back in on some shit because of life.
Wait.
I read real well.
Why you say that?
I read real well because of the motions. Did you read the motion? Read the motion.
Okay,
How she worded it.
I see what you're saying. So
Exactly.
they might call her in and be like, "Did you get
Exactly.
the
Now we
woo-wah?"
need to exactly. Now
Yeah,
we need to hear
run it
this
back.
part and that part again.
Yeah,
Yes. So
I got.
now when she thinking she moving her life on, this dummy done dragged her in there because he want to be on his YouTube talking about,
Got you.
oh yeah, I got this, and we seen that, and you seen his father there, his mother there, this and that. Man, we was visiting. My wife never stayed at that fucking house. My son never stayed at his house. What the fuck is he talking about?
But you know they
Like
might
this shit goofy.
because they
Huh?
saying they might pull you too, because she ain't say your
Man, listen, I
name. But
promise. Listen to me. I promise you they ain't gonna call me. Listen to me. I promise you.
Listen to me. I promise you they ain't gonna call me. I promise you. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming over and chilling with me tonight. I just had to come and get this message out. I'm still asking everyone, if you haven't already checked out this series, if you haven't already checked out this series, For Life, man, I'm asking you all, this is our homework. This is our homework over here. Our homework is to go and try and find this For Life. If you got Fire Stick, put it in on the Fire Stick, For Life. Stars, ABC, For Life. Amazon Prime, For Life. Go and get this little short series and watch it. And I want you all to pay attention to all of the corruption that took place in this man's case, Isaac Wright Jr. Look at all of the corruption that took place in this man's case. When you see this series, and you're gonna think about, now you already know And this is what's going to make this series so much better, because you know about the injustice that has taken place in this R. Kelly case. So when you go and watch this series, it's going to be way more interesting to you, because you're going to start making comparisons. You're going to start seeing comparisons to some of the ways that the prosecutors and the district attorneys, how they handled this man's case. And you're going to look and you're going to think about what you have witnessed in the R. Kelly case. And you're going to say, wow. It's going to feel as though history is repeating itself. It's going to feel as though history repeating itself. That's why I'm advocating that you all go and check out this mini series of For Life. If you don't want to check out the mini series For Life, YouTube, Isaac Wright Jr. on YouTube. He has an interview on Sway in the morning, and he details some of the things that took place during his case. He detailed about the judge got locked up, the district attorney, and the prosecutor. But if y'all saw on the little mini series that I showed y'all, the prosecutor went on a run in Las Vegas and locked himself in a hotel room, and he killed himself. But the judge went to prison. The district attorney went to prison. All of them went to prison for corruption. So it's important. This could give us a lot more insight of what has taken place in the case of R. Kelly. Trust me, you will not be let down. You will not be let down. This BOP officer A has yet been discovered. R. Kelly's having nightmares because he don't know who this officer is. Last night, if you was on the live, I went over some things from the BOP, and one of the documents from the BOP talks about prisoner required to sign away privileges and emails. Said the BOP provide federal prisoners with access to a proprietary email system called Trust Fund Limited Inmate Computer System, TrueLinks. And this shit little as here. Y'all excuse my eyes. Excuse my eyes. It say TrueLinks to communicate with approved outside contacts, including their counsel, but prisoners must first agree to the system participation agreement, under which prisoners must consent to the BOP monitoring, reading, and retaining all incoming and outgoing emails. The agreement expressly states that the BOP can monitor emails to and from attorneys, and that communication with attorneys will not be privileged. The BOP also reserve the right to share emails with criminal, civil, and regulatory law enforcement agencies, the media, and the court presiding over any proceeding to which the emails are relevant. It says the current regime established a double standard in which people in custody, including pretrial detainees who have not yet been convicted of any crime, are not afforded the same Sixth Amendment protection enjoyed by the rest of society. Even if a prisoner and their attorney both have carefully read the fine print in the TrueLinks participation agreements, a mistaken expectation of privacy is not the only problem with the current regime. A prisoner access to counsel is severely handicapped
if they are limited to in-person visits with or calls to their lawyer compared to emails. Calls and visits are routinely canceled or restricted by prison officials due to prison lockdown or other unexpected events such as coronavirus pandemic. So we got work to do. We got work to do. We got to continue to dig into this BOP nonsense. We got to continue to dig into how, because we got to understand what do they mean when they say there's a double standard, which people in custody, including pretrial detainees who have not yet been convicted of any crime or not, are not. They say including pretrial detainees who have not yet been convicted of any crime are not afforded the same Sixth Amendment protection enjoyed by the rest of society. So we got to get a better grasp of that language that they're speaking in that little statement right there. So you mean to tell me if you're a pretrial detainee and you haven't been convicted, well, you're not afforded the same Sixth Amendment protection? That's something that we have to research and then we have to study and come back and make it make sense. Because if this is the case with the BOP officer during 2019, R.Kelly hadn't been convicted of anything. So if we look at it from what this statement is saying, he hadn't been convicted of anything, so he was not afforded the same Sixth Amendment protection. So this is why we have to study this. We have to look into this to understand this. And we have to understand how could someone take away your Sixth Amendment right? Okay? That's a job. That's a job for all of us. Message from Kels. This message is well, the brother Kendrick Crawford had wrote Kels and he was concerned about Kels' mental stability after hearing the phone calls or whatnot. So he reached out to Kels and Kels reached back out to Kendrick and told him, little bro, trust me, I'm not having a mental meltdown at all. And yes, thank God you are completely wrong about the mental meltdown aspect. I just want my truth to be out there just in case. So what could he be concerned about if he say, I just want my truth to be out there just in case? He said, so I don't need to settle down, little bro. You know why? Because I have the God-given truth on my side. Kel say, I have the God-given truth, not the man-given truth, not the federal prosecutors giving truth, not surviving R.Kelly truth, not these accusers truth, not these so-called friend truth, but he have the God-given truth on his side. That's a whole different type of truth right there. That's a totally different type of truth. That's a different type of truth. He say, I have the God-given truth, not the accuser truth, not surviving R. Kelly truth, not the judge truth, not Chicago truth, not the prosecutor's truth, not the witnesses' truth, but the God-given truth. Now, if people don't understand what type of belief system that this man is operating from, then you might not be a supporter. You might not be a supporter. You may not be a fan. But if you don't understand the belief system that this man is operating from, hey, some of us, a lot of people believe in man because they watch that television. What's up, Sir Miguel? A lot of people believe in man because they watch that television. They tell lies to your vision to get you in your feelings. Only time they are promoting black people, or only time they'll promote people of color on that television, and when there's people on these reality shows making a fool of themselves. They want to know the flavor of love. Well, they got a man, they are promoting a man dating 10 to 15 different women. They got love and hip hop. Well, they got a lot of fucked up relationships and bad marriages. Only time they promoting us is in a negative spotlight. But people trust it so much. So I'm trying to understand, why do people trust it so much? Why do people rely on the television so much when they only promote our people in negative spotlights? Can we understand it? Can we make sense of that? The only time we're promoted on these reality shows, look at what you're seeing with Blueface. They are promoting domestic violence with Blueface and this girl, Krishan Rock. They promoting domestic violence. But then when they showed you Bobby and Whitney, Ike and Tina, they wanted everybody to feel so bad. Oh, it's so wrong. It's so wrong. But then you turn around and you promote the same shit that you said was wrong. Domestic violence is one of the biggest reasons for deaths in this country. It's in the top 5. But they are promoting domestic violence. And what's even sadder, when I look at this Blueface and this Krishan Rock shit, is that this young lady's family doesn't even take the domestic violence serious enough so they want to come and film a fucking reality show. Don't that remind you of somebody? Don't that remind you of the Savages? Don't that remind you of the Clarets? If somebody putting their fucking hand on my daughter, it ain't gonna be no reality show. It's gonna be a fucking television news report saying Big Vi has been arrested for knocking somebody's goddamn head off. Putting your hands on my daughter. If Baby Powder Johnson didn't say nothing else, he told Tim Savage, Mr. Hollywood Savage, if that was my daughter in that building, my fucking truck will be through that front door. Everything now is about money. What happened to the principles? What happened to the morals? They say money is the root of all evil. Our people are the only one chasing it and willing to do anything to have it. But, you know, man, I'm young. I don't know no better. I'm young. I'm only young. You know, I only know what I know. I haven't lived a long time. Maybe I missed out on something in life. Maybe the structure that I was brung up under
is too structural. That I can't get down with this new shit. I can't comply with this new shit. I would not be complicit to this new way of fucking living. It doesn't work for me. So I feel where Kel's coming from. None of these women had police reports, but they were treated so badly. All of these women went and came as they plead, but they were locked up. But one thing the media have the power to create the narratives that describe the individual that they are trying to either build up or that they are trying to destroy. But the only way we can stop them from destroying our people and our greats, our legends, the people that has changed history for us, is that we step up and say, look, we're not going to let y'all. We're not going to allow y'all to tear down our greats while they celebrate theirs. Elvis Presley, man, I just seen on Twitter the other day, a pair of this man's underwear was auctioned off for over $8,000. This is the same Elvis Presley who married a 14-year-old girl. They still are celebrating Elvis. They just made a movie last year in celebration of Elvis. Because Elvis people is not going to allow the media to run a smear campaign on Elvis without causing hell. You see when Trump lost the fucking presidency, what did those people do? They didn't sit on platforms and talk about this, that, and the third. They showed up. They showed up. But the world is not expecting our people to show up. The world is not expecting our people to show up. Let that would have been our people showed up at the White House. Man, they would have had roadblocks set up 12 miles radius all the way around. Our people wouldn't have near about got close to that White House. At some point, we have to look at the shit that we getting. And when you start having to taste your own shit, then it's the time you have to make a choice. Are you going to eat it or are you going to spit this shit out? We don't have to accept the narrative that they have given us. We don't have to accept the lifestyle that they have given us. They give us slop. They give us the straps while they keep all the meat. While they had a dessert. While they had a Kool-Aid. If we want the same shit out of life, we have to go and take it. We have to stand up for it. We're not asking to be equal to no race. We asking to be who we are. Fuck all that equality. I'm not going to get off into that, man. This shit'll get way deep. It'll get way deep with me. But one thing we got to stop doing is asking to be equal to any other race, any other ethnicity. We just want to be us. And let us be.
Give us ours and we'll stay out the way. Let us celebrate our greats. Michael Jackson, R.Kelly, Sam Cooke, Bill Cosby, the Princes, Otis Redding. Let us celebrate Hannah Bell, Aretha Franklin. Let us celebrate our greats. Martin Luther King, Malcolm, Marcus Garvey, Fred Hampton. Let us celebrate our greats. Tookie Williams, Jeff Ford, Larry Hoover. Just give us us. Just give us our just due and put us off to our own, give us our own side of this world. And y'all can have the rest of this shit. We don't want equality. We just want what's due and what's owed to us. Leave our grace alone. Y'all take everything from them, and then when they come back to recruit it, then y'all make them look like criminals. And then on top of that, our own people help you all bury our greats. But BOP Officer A, BOP Officer A, I got a message for you. Thanks for coming over today, man. I enjoyed y'all. It's been great. Thanks for coming to the Big Vibe Experience, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button if you haven't already. On your way out, smash that like button. Until next time, it's free chaos till we see chaos. And we out.
What it do, what it do, what it do. It's your boy Big Vibe Opinion back with another.